Hi, Elishia.
Hi.
Welcome to today's interview. It's great to have you here. Let's dive straight in. You have been part of the Strong Babes Club for a while now and have had amazing success. I love seeing your journey unfolding in front of us. And today I would love to get a little bit to know you better. Like, what have you done actually before joining the Strong Babes Club? And what was even the reason why you joined us? Maybe you can give us first a little bit of like context of who is Alicia? What are you doing? What is your job? How does your day-to-day life look like?
Yeah. All right. Well, I live in Lake Tahoe, California. Um, and my day-to-day life is actually really mostly focused around health and fitness and nutrition. I'm a nutritionist myself, and but I specialize in gut health, not in body composition, which is totally different. Um, and uh Yeah, I've been a member since November, and yeah, I don't know what else is there anything else I should say?
Oh, good. I like that you said that you are like occupied with health and nutrition, fitness, even though like even before you started working with us because it's your job, it's what you're doing for a living, and I would love to know a bit better, like what got you even into the pursuing that career path.
Yeah, I think probably in college you have to declare a major. And I didn't know what I wanted to do. And I took a nutrition class and I was like, oh, I love this. This is so fascinating. And even if I do nothing with this degree, at least I could use it for myself, you
Hmm.
know, for life. Um, and anyways, fast forward, I had like a lot of gut issues and digestive issues, and I was kind of at a rock bottom, and I was just willing to try something totally different. And the answers I found was, that the things that actually worked for healing my gut were wildly different than everything I learned in college.
Hmm.
It was like a complete 180. Um, and so that was, and honestly, probably too in college, one of the reasons why I chose it was because I, um, wanted to, I think fitness and appearance and your body composition then, which meant something to me totally different then than it does now. But maybe if I'm being honest, part of it was like how to stay in shape or look
Hmm.
good or be healthy and things like that. And so, um, yeah, anyways, that was a whole journey in of itself. And I was able to solve a lot of my digestive issues. I fell in love with it and wanted to help others.
Cool.
But the biggest part I wanted to do after that was figure out how to like achieve that physique and aesthetic look that I really wanted.
Mhm.
And I didn't really know how to do that. And I was like, I don't really want to continue education for like another section of nutrition.
Yeah.
Like, I kind of want to just let go and let somebody else take care of it for me.
Love that. And would you say, because you just mentioned briefly that back then physique appearance was something different than it is today? Like how is that different for you? Because for someone like from the outside, it's maybe like, yeah, it's you're just changing the look and looking a little bit slimmer or whatever it is. How, if you can think back of your time back then, what were you thinking about appearance and what did you wanted to achieve versus what are you after now?
Yeah, for sure. Then it was all about being skinny, right? And being as small as possible. And I am 5'9", so I am not tiny. But all my girlfriends are, 5'2",
Mm,
5'3", so I always felt huge. I even look back at photos where I'm like hunched over because I'm trying to
mm,
not be like as tall, and it just made me feel bigger. Um, And yeah, it was all about being super lean, not about being toned or being strong. And it was all about eating I grew up in the 90s, 80s, 90s era where, it was all like low fat, low calorie, low everything.
Everything size
And like,
zero.
yeah, zero
Yeah.
food and a
Yeah.
ton of cardio.
Mm.
Um, I think then my fitness looked like lots of spin classes and maybe those like Les Mills body pump
Yeah.
classes. I did do weights and I liked lifting weights, but I didn't know like what I do now. So it was definitely like Barbie weights and lots of cardio.
The pink Barbie weights, the lightweight weights. Can you like remember when you got health fitness conscious for the first time in your life? Like, was there something specifically happening? Because you said the gut issues and all those, the rock bottom moment came a little bit like later on.
Mhm.
But when did you start like being even like interested in sports or activity or all those things related to fitness?
Yeah, well, like I said, I live in Lake Tahoe, so it's a very outdoorsy community, and I've always done sports as a kid, as a teenager, like basketball, softball, things like that. Skiing is really big here, hiking, outdoor adventure. So I've always been active, just not in like a um, concentrated way like
Mm.
this. Uh, and then I think when I really like took that more seriously, it was probably when I was like 17 or 18, when I became like when my body changed and from a stick figure into more like a woman. And I was like, oh, okay, you need
Something is
to,
happening here.
yeah, something's happening here. And you're not a kid anymore. So like, I just kind of I actually started really young and I've always had health and fitness habits. I just think they haven't always been the right ones.
Mm. And had you had people who were like influencing you back then, or that were like taking you like into the gym or to those classes? Like, how did you find out about going to the spin class or the Les Mills classes?
I think it was probably like college, because I was in nutrition. And so like that's just kind of the stuff that we talked about was like
Yeah,
fitness and nutrition.
yeah.
Um, and yeah, I think that's, it's just kind of like the the type of people that I was surrounded with.
Mm.
And I mean, it was all women. I think there were like three dudes in my whole class. But yeah, it was like all women, all, sorority girls, like had a certain look, and I definitely did not fit that look. Um, Not that there's anything wrong with sorority girls, but I'm like a country bumpkin mountain girl, not like um yeah, it was totally different.
And when you were like leaving college and those, did you then also leave that kind of environment and those people you were surrounded by? How did you got into like then the next step, which was lifting weights?
Yeah, so in college, I ended up joining a gym outside of the actual college because it was just way too crowded. I didn't have time or want to wait for machines. Um, and it was a bit of a meat market, It was like everybody's in there to like, I don't know. And I'm like a sweater when I work out. I'm like, I
Yeah.
look disgusting. I'm going to like, um, so anyways, when I left college, I came back to the Lake Tahoe area. And I was kind of glad to leave the gym because I didn't like the scene there. And I just did a lot of outdoor stuff. And then I eventually found Bikram yoga,
Hmm.
which I became a religious Bikram yogi for over a decade.
Oh, crazy. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was like hardcore into it
Yeah.
for, I was going like 4 or 5 times a week. Um, and I once competed in a Bikram competition,
I
like
didn't even
kind of
know that's a thing.
I didn't either.
Compete?
I was like, okay.
How is that competition going on? Like, how do you compete in Bikram yoga?
You get up on stage and do like everybody does like the same. I can't
Yeah.
remember. It was like in 2011, so it was like everybody does these same few poses and then you do a couple of your own. And I
Mm.
guess it's like on how well you do it, essentially. It was more of like a milestone to do.
Mm.
Try something out. Yeah, Bikram yoga for a long time. Then right before my wedding in 2017, like a year or two before, I was a part of the Beach Babes Club. Oh my God, I totally forgot about this. Yeah.
Beach
The,
babes. Yeah, I want to
yeah,
hear that story.
you know what I'm talking about? They're like huge
Yeah.
and um
I think they changed the name at some point. Can I think so or not? Are they still, is there still like beach girls?
I think so. I think that they've probably like they branched out into like products and have probably retired and like
Exactly.
passed it over.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure there's still that
Yeah.
community. Um, and it was all about light weights and workouts I could do at home. Uh,
Hmm.
the nutrition was like 1,600 calories.
Of
Um,
course. What else?
for forever. There was like no, it was like that's
Yeah.
what you're gonna eat for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
And I definitely tried and I did that for years, honestly. Um, and I looked good, but it like, it was just different. I was
What was
younger.
what was missing for you? What made you interested in like figuring out something else beyond that?
Um, I think that it was like I think it worked short term. Like in short term, I say like a year or two. And it was on my honeymoon where I was like, I can't eat like this anymore. Like I'm so
Mm.
stressed out. I think I worked out 96 days in a row. And I was like, if you missed a day, all the progress felt like it was going backwards. I'm just such a hardcore person that I do everything as hard as I possibly can. And I've learned that that is not always the answer in so many areas of my life, in business, in health, in
Okay.
everything. It's just like sometimes you just need to let go. And I was like, I can't do this anymore. I'm hungry. I'm obsessed about my food. I'm on my honeymoon. I just
Mm.
like, and it really stressed out about not being able to work out, not being able to do yoga, like all of the stuff.
Mm.
And I think that was when I kind of like hit a turning point and I came across some podcasts and information. And that's when like I was like, oh, okay. And I completely changed everything. I went super meat based. I was carnivore for a year and a half. I was vegan for several months. I've like done everything in between and wild on the sides.
All the
Uh,
different diets.
yeah. I'm trying to think. I mean, that was almost 8 years ago, maybe now.
And was
Uh,
that the same time you had these like gut issues coming up, like after like working out so hard and eating that little food? Was that connected to that time?
yeah, for sure. Um, yeah, that's actually like all of it. It all like kind of came crashing down on me. The gut issues, like bloated, like constipated all the time. Like I think I was addicted to laxatives for a couple
Mm.
years. Um, couldn't lose weight. Like, I was doing juice cleanses. Oh my God, I've done so many things. Every
Now
time I came back from
everything comes
yeah.
out now.
Every time I came back from vacation, I would do some kind of like 3 to 5 day juice fast
Yeah.
because it worked really well the first time. And then all the consecutive times, I was just like miserable and
Mm.
freezing. I was so cold. It was like, just didn't work. Yeah, sorry, there was so much. And it was like, all those pinnacle moments really happened almost a decade ago. And then they've been like transitioning since then to eating more protein
Mm.
focused, restructuring the nutrition information I had,
Mm.
delving into like functional medicine, which all things like really improved a lot, but I didn't get the physique that I wanted. And 2 years ago, I joined CrossFit, which I actually really liked. I did it dedicated for a year. Everything I do is super dedicated,
Exactly. I just wanted to say that. It's like, of course you did.
hardcore for 5 days a week, stressed out if I missed a day, all of the things, and adding a Bikram class into there too. Um, and plus all my outdoor activities, backcountry skiing, hiking,
Hmm.
backpack. I tried to do a lot. And I actually really did. I initially joined CrossFit because I wanted to meet a new community.
Mhm.
Previously, I was in the food and beverage scene, and so all my friends were based around like going out and drinking, and I just was living a different life, and I wanted to find new people. So that's the real reason I joined. And what I really loved about it was that I did learn how to lift heavy. Like I wasn't lifting heavy before, and I was like,
Hmm.
oh, this is so different. Like it was really fun. I liked it a lot. I did meet some people, but I totally crashed after like that towards the end of that year to where I was like, okay, things are working, 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 and then they stop working. And then so you just go harder and harder and harder and get more and more into that hole. And I
Hmm.
was tired. I think all of the hit at the end of it was a bit much. I wasn't fueling appropriate. Now I know after working with you guys, I totally was not fueling appropriately.
Can you
Uh,
like remember like what was the gap? Do you have numbers?
of like the nutrition gap.
Yeah, like kind of how big the gap was between, because it sounds like very intense what you did with like CrossFit. It's definitely different than just going for like 3 times a week strength training session, bodybuilding style in the gym and doing CrossFit workouts.
Yeah, I mean, in the CrossFit workouts, you're creamed at the end of every workout, right? Like
Exactly,
everybody
yeah.
like lays out on the floor and I'm like, am I supposed to do that? Like I'm drenching in sweat. And I always felt like unless you look like that, like Bikram, even my previous ones, unless I like look completely destroyed, I felt like maybe I wasn't getting a good workout.
Mm,
Um, and like the nutrition then too, I was doing on my own. I was definitely adequate protein has always been a cornerstone, and that has made such a big difference. But then the other parts, like of how to fuel for activities like that, was not in my wheelhouse. And so I was eating like 100 grams of carbs, and I've been tracking my food for 15 years. I think I was eating 100 grams of carbs, no intra-fuel. To whereas today I'm eating like 3 to 350 plus intra-fuel.
which comes on top to your
Yeah.
carb intake.
Yeah. And I mean, like the CrossFit was great to have somebody in person to help me understand lifting
Mm,
heavy. Like I do value some of the skills I got from there
yeah.
because it gave me the confidence to come in and work with you guys.
Mm,
Um, to where I was like not as scared to put like heavy weight on,
mhm.
So like I don't regret it, but I was like I reached a point where I was like, okay, like this is good, but I'm not where I want to be. I hate that I can't like if you miss deadlift day, like maybe you won't deadlift again for like 3 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Sure,
And
because
this
it's not in the workout of the day, and then it's
yeah,
gone.
yeah, exactly. And I was like, okay, well, and I really like the programming. I wanted something more structured, more consistent, something that I could measure off of each
Mm.
time, um, and really see that change.
And
I
do
don't
you
know if I answered your
remember?
question.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you remember like last year, November, what was the situation you were in where you were like, okay, let's just try this. Let's just try this new thing that is not CrossFit, not Bikram yoga, not beach girls, but something
Yeah.
else.
Well, like I said, like what I really loved about the CrossFit was the heavy lifting that I learned. When I thought I was lifting weights before, I was not lifting weights before. Like I don't even know what you call that, beach babe era. It was like, um, anyways, I wanted more of that. I wanted less of like that hit high intensity.
Mm,
I'm in my 40s, and so I was just like worried about like that burnout, about overdoing it in that realm. I wanted to focus more on building muscle, creating the shape, listening to your guys' messaging about creating the shape you want. creating that progressive overload, having something to measure each time.
Mm.
I really love routine and habits, and that's like it just the structure that I wanted from that. And I was like, I think I've achieved what I can get from this, and I'm ready for the next level, which is something more concentrated, more focused, more specific to exactly what I want. And maybe I had to go through that to understand that and be like, oh, I
Yeah.
do like that's what I want. And I'm realizing that I knew that's what I always wanted, but I took that time to realize that's not what I was going to get here. I
Hmm.
needed something more specific.
Which,
And obviously the nutrition part too.
which makes absolutely sense. Like sometimes we need to go through all of these ups and downs and figure out like what we like and don't like about specific things to then know like what is the actual thing that I'm searching for. So I'm glad you found us and we helped you to quadruple probably your carb intake so that you are properly fueled for all your activities because you are someone who's definitely um, not sitting all day long on your bum, but you are active and you are outside. And it's just great to see you thrive. What has been your, like looking back, it's almost a year. It's 10 months that you're now inside of the club. Almost. It's September, November. Yes, 10 months. What changes have you seen in your body, mindset, life? Like, what was happening for you that where you're like, oh, this has been like the biggest change for me so far?
Like actual things that I've applied that have made a difference. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, things that are very important to you that you're like looking back, you're like, okay, cool. It's great that I've taken that route, that I committed, that I tried something new that was different than what you have done before, that is um, helping you to succeed in some ways.
Yeah. Um, oh gosh, okay. I don't even know how to start. Some of the things that were really helpful for me in being successful that I wasn't doing before too was the steps. It seemed kind of insignificant at first. And especially when I went through the fat loss phase, I was like, wow, these daily walks and these steps, they're making a huge difference. Like I think I was getting like maybe 3,000 steps a day. Even though I'm active,
Yeah.
when you work at home or you work on your computer, like I can't believe how much sitting I do. And I was like, okay, like let's get some steps in. And now I'm averaging 15,000. It was like wildly different. That made a huge difference.
With your
Uh,
walking pad, right? You have the walking pad at home?
yeah, in the beginning, that was really necessary for me to get the steps in before it became routine and addicting. And I
Hmm.
was like, oh, okay. And now that I mean, it's fall now, but like I started in the winter, so that was really helpful. It's just like tons of snow here. Like you get bored with the same loop around your neighborhood. Um, And so that was huge. That was a really big difference. Now I don't use the walking pad as much, um, but I definitely still do. Cardio is completely different. Introducing the low intensity steady state cardio was something that I was like, I probably would have never done before on my own. Definitely not because it didn't feel like, I wasn't wiped out after it. Like
It's
I was
not
like,
like a CrossFit class, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Or a spin class, or,
Mm.
I was doing sprinting and adding that in
Yeah.
off of things I found on Instagram. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I can do that. And not that like I don't think those are still helpful. I just think the low intensity just came from such a different perspective of recovery and like increasing my capacity in the other things I do.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I was like, oh, this just doesn't feel like enough. I don't know, but okay, I'm gonna trust it and go with it. And that's been nice. And it's actually, I kind of enjoy not being completely wiped out.
Mm.
Like I have the capacity to finish my work day or go on another walk or
Mm.
um, have a conversation. Like, um, that's been really huge. The intrafuel is a huge game changer. Again, another thing that I was like really questioning. Like I said, I do nutrition, so I really had to come into it. I had to like pep talk myself into
Pep talk,
being like,
yeah.
you're just gonna have to let go of the things that you believe to be true and like really just if you want to do what you think you know, then why did you start working with them, right? You're gonna have to do what they tell you to do and trust the process. And it's hard. It's really hard, you know? It's like letting go of any kind of habit. Um, and I was like, shouldn't I just eat food instead of like drink this like sugar mix? Like it just didn't, it was like weird for
Yeah,
my mind, you
yeah.
know? And it wasn't until like I had a day or a couple days where I was out of it and I was like, oh my God, that makes such a difference. So the interfuel was huge. I totally forgot your question and I think I just like rambled off. I'm sorry. The
No, this is
changes.
so completely fine. I just wanted to like understand better like what were the wins for you, like the biggest things that changed the game for you. And I think one thing that you touched base on, and I think that makes you very special, is you have a lot of knowledge specifically in the fitness, health, and nutrition space because you're not only a nutritionist yourself, but you have also tried a lot of things on your own. And you being so open to try new things out. Not everyone is doing that. And this is definitely something that we enjoy, like having you as a part of the community being so open to trying new things out, but then also being curious about why are we doing this, right? So you are someone who also loves to learn and not just do. I mean, you're good in executing, but I think you also want to understand better why things are working or why we're doing certain things. For example, the cardio piece, right? It's at the very beginning, it seems so maybe boring or not like a training session. It doesn't feel like a training session, but there comes a point where we start to feel how the body is liking it and it becomes kind of nice. I can 100% relate to that because I'm the same. When I started implementing like low intensity cardio, I was like, no, I need to like go, 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 because that's kind of also like my vibe. But then having something that actually brings me down and helps me to recover better and tolerate stress better, like having more capacity, is feels definitely different.
It's so different.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And I wouldn't say like yeah, I'm open and I want to try new things and I want to learn, but like I think like most people, and this was something I learned in my own practice, was that most people aren't willing or ready to make a change until they hit like, that rock bottom or that turning point. And I don't think I was at a rock bottom before I met with you guys. I think I actually found the end of the capacity that I could reach with where I was and was like, didn't know how to get to that next step.
Mm.
Um, and so, yeah, I think, but I definitely like getting to, all those other stages took some of that, rock bottom turning points where you're just like, okay, I just don't know what I'm doing. I have to. And it's hard to admit that to yourself,
Yeah.
especially when this is your field, to be like, I don't know how to do this. And um, I think, yeah, one of the things let me back up because I think this is actually one of the changes. I made a note because I wanted to make sure I didn't miss some of this. But um, one of the changes I think that I really was so beneficial was the recovery piece. Because like I said, like when I was doing the beach babes, it was like, oh, 100 works out in a row, like good for me. Like, oh my God, like
Crazy.
recovery is so important. And I think like y- I think maybe somebody who has that kind of like neurotic mindset like I do, like just go, 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 hardcore as hard as you can is the answer. I think that like that recovery was really a missing piece. And that you're almost I was afraid to have a recovery or a rest day.
Mm.
Like I was afraid that it would set me back. And this year in particular with working with you guys, I've had a lot of like challenges. It's been a really hard year. Like I had a family loss. I had two illnesses. I was so sick. I was sick for like a month. I was injured right before I got sick and then injured right again after it. And it just felt like I was like, oh, just kept like getting beat down. And I was so upset about missing my workouts. Um, and it was really hard. And it was so nice to have like the support of, you need to take it easy. And you actually got sick because you didn't recover. You didn't take a rest day. And you're injured again because you didn't recover, because you didn't take a rest day. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm fine. I can totally throw this weight around. And I think like that was so hard. But the piece that brought it all together was that when I was able to come back, I, I, you know, I didn't come back 100%, which um, also needed coaching because I would have on my own, I
Mm.
would have come back and like hit it where I left off, right?
Yeah.
It's like, take it easy. Like it's going to feel a little ridiculously easy. And I was like, this is ridiculous. So many times I was like, it's not even doing anything. And within like 4 weeks, which when you're in the moment, 4 weeks sounds like a really long time, but looking back, it really was just a small piece of my year. I was at a higher capacity of lifting than I was before I got injured and sick I was out for like 3 months. And that was such like a like wild turning point. I was like,
Mm.
okay, so like if you rest and you recover, you're not going to lose it all. And you probably will come back stronger. And it just like kind of put me in a place where like it's okay to take that rest. It's okay to recover, which is like something I would never have allowed my mind to enter
Mm.
because that's how you stay in it. You constantly drive yourself. So if you give yourself an out, like it's okay to take a day off, what happens to the rest of,
Yeah.
your life? All of a sudden you're never going to work out again. Like it's just such a weird mental shift that I'm sure, I sometimes feel crazy when I say it out loud or embarrassed about it, but I think it's actually fairly common.
I do think it's fairly common, like a lot. And I think it's particularly for women in the health and fitness space, this like constant like go, 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 and burning yourself into the ground. And I'm super happy that you were able to have that mind shift this year of experiencing, because it is something different if someone tells you, recovery is important and you need to rest and you need to take a day off. But it's so cool that you had the like going through that experiencing and then feeling how you can, when you take time off or when you're pulling a little bit the weights back after a break, that it helps you to come back even stronger and perform even better than before being sick. And I think having going through the experience is definitely something else than just learning and hearing about it, that recovery is important. So I'm super happy that you made the experience with us.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely made a huge change. And it gave me like permission to, do I'm in a recovery right now. Um, and it was elective and by choice. And it's just, I don't know, it was nice to be able to give myself
Hmm.
that kind of a freedom. And I think often when I go from something, I always want to come back as hardcore as I can and do something wild and crazy. Maybe not even wild and crazy. I'd actually call it boring and extreme, like a juice cleanse.
Extreme.
It's boring but extreme, like a juice cleanse or a huge calorie cut.
Yeah.
And every time I want to do something like that, I always check in and I'm like, Yannick, here's what I'm thinking. But before I do anything, why don't you tell me what you think? And it's so nice to have that because, eventually I think I'll get to a place where I know and, but I'm just, not 100% there yet. And I think that's like the kind of support that I needed was somebody to tell me like, just like I said, release that control of managing it.
Mm.
And I think that releasing that power and letting someone else take care of you is actually a huge growth moment for someone like me, um, to just trust somebody else with your health.
And you did that beautifully. I remember like seeing like when your posts are coming in on the community board, they're mostly like quite long with everything that's like going through your head, and it's like, yeah, I thought about doing this, and this, and then helping you, and Yannick is playing a big role there on like helping you uh, understand better or question the things that you're doing, or just bouncing back the idea of like maybe do it this way, maybe that would be like more supportive in your journey right now. But I think it also takes a lot of like being open or opening up like you're doing it, and instead of quitting because something is not how you how like the way you used to do things, but opening up and asking actually for support is huge. And I think that is something that is probably learned, and not everyone has that like naturally coming, like asking for support, especially like strong women like you. I see it all the time. It's not easy to be like, hey, actually, I have those thoughts of doing this, but is it the most beneficial thing for me right now?
Yeah. And for someone in my position too, it feels like a weakness, right? And you don't want to feel weak. You don't want others to know that you feel weak. Or even like as a nutritionist, what does that make me look like?
Mm.
Do I look like a fraud? Do I, do you want others to know these things? And so I don't actually post a lot until I do have questions. And we're on such a different time difference too, that I'm up at like 5 a.m. and I'm like, get it all in, because the response time can sometimes be like the next day for me.
Yeah,
And so I think that's also why I make them so long, because I'm like, yep, here's everything. And that's also how my brain works.
I think it's
Um,
great. It gives,
but
it gives the context of the situation. I love that.
yeah. And so I will say too, like what's really nice is when I come back from recovery, or when I come back from illness or injury or vacation, is that what I love is that I now have proof that I have a system that works, you know? Like it's almost been a year. And, that's kind of the place where I found where, this is kind of like the do or, and not the do or die, but like, it's kind of the place where I found
Mm.
historically with things I've tried in the past where it's like, okay, have you reached your peak with this? And now it's time to find the thing that will take you to the next level. So on one end, I love that I can come back to this no matter what's happening, because I know that it works and it's always effective. And I also know that I haven't peaked out in it. I'm not looking for like the next phase or the next answer. I'm really looking forward to my next workout. I'm really looking forward to like the building phase. I'm in maintenance right now, and I'm really looking forward to moving into the building phase. Like I do have those next phases and stages laid out actually for several years. And that's actually really comforting to know that I'm not like peaking, that I'm
Mm.
progressing. And by peaking, I probably even mean like flatlining, like you're just like, okay, like I'm still not where I want to be. Um, but I've hit so many huge milestones
Yeah.
this year alone, even in my with the fat loss phase, hitting pull-ups, getting 6 of them, just trying it out and be like, holy crap, I just did 6 pull-ups with like what? I haven't even done pull-ups.
Yeah, that's the best part when you haven't even trained them, but you just like got stronger in your lat pull downs and like training your back and biceps, and then you're just smashing the pull ups.
Yeah. Or smashing a huge backcountry day, like with my husband, who's an extreme athlete, and keeping up with him. And like, a backcountry climb that I would do one of them and I'd be like, I'm done for the day. I did 3 of them and I was just like, oh my God, this is amazing. And uh, yeah, it's really cool to see the progress, um, having a system that I know works for me and knowing that that system's not extreme, it's doable. Um, and looking forward to like the next phase in it too.
Yes. No burnout anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
Um, I know I shared a whole lot and hopefully it's helpful and not too much.
It's never too much. I love listening to stories, and I think it's just beautiful if like getting to know the person, you know, that is going through it because I get so many messages from women being like, I saw this maybe in the community, but also like outside of the community and being like, I heard her talking about something and I can really relate to that, right? And so it gives so many women the opportunity to even like dream a little bit bigger, right? Imagine your younger self hearing that and being like, oh, there is maybe a way of not just going full on in and like crashing after a year or two and not being able to sustain that, but having something in place where you can outgrow yourself and where you can challenge yourself because you definitely did not just hang in there and chilled the whole year, but you were definitely progressing through the different stages of your transformation journey. And now sitting here and not being completely burned out and having a terrible health and mindset around fueling and like in general nutrition training and your health and fitness. So I think it's amazing going through those like having the experience and like sharing the experience and the story. So I'm super grateful that you were sharing that with me today. And I think as a last word, what would you, talking about your younger self, what would you tell her? Maybe being on the fence. And I know last year you said you were not like hitting like rock bottom, but you knew, hey, there is maybe something out there that can bring me to the next level or add another layer to my fitness journey. What would you say to another woman who's where you were before joining us? Who is it for even?
Yeah, I know that there's so many different that women are coming in from so many different backgrounds too, maybe never lifting weights all the way or tracking their food to someone like myself who's been doing it for decades. So I guess my advice would be maybe for somebody who's been doing it for a long time, um, is that even if you like know what to do, right? It's it's just not as effective as releasing that power and letting someone else take care of you. And like I said, that's a really huge growth moment of just like letting that power go
Mhm.
and trusting someone else to lay it out there for you. Um, and that, you know, it gives you it gives you an opportunity to let go of that I need to do something drastic, um, or that I need to push harder and harder. Like I said, like going as extreme as possible. I know there's definitely other women out there who are like, I gotta go work out 7 days a week. And, there were times where I just wanted to be sick because then I could rest, which is like so
Hmm.
fucked up. Sorry. It's like mentally, like what?
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, I think it would be for that person who's like so hardcore is to like, you know, let go of that power, trust, trust someone else with that, and that rest and recovery makes a huge, huge difference. Huge difference.
And
Like,
carbs.
and carbs. Oh my God. Carbs. Yeah. I can't believe how many potatoes I eat. I buy them at the grocery store and the checkout person is always like, "What are you making?" I was like, "It's just I eat a lot of potatoes."
Just a couple of days for me, you know?
Yeah, it's like nothing.
Uh,
Um, I don't know. I guess yeah. And also maybe too, I mean, maybe somebody. who's doing like CrossFit gets
Mhm.
it on the lifting heavy or something, but like you know, even me a couple years ago, just like doing a lot of cardio and thinking you're lifting weights, like I was not lifting heavy at all.
Mm.
And lifting heavy and matching that nutrition to your training, game changer. Like just a huge missing piece that I didn't have before. It wasn't just effort, but it was like making sure you were doing that effort right, if that
That
makes sense.
was beautifully said.
Okay.
Thank you for today. Thank you for sharing your story and opening up about everything that you have gone through. And I'm very excited to see what's coming next for you, right? So the maintenance phase, but then also tapping into building. I think it's definitely a phase that um, not a lot of women have the courage to go through because of course weight gain and what's going to happen and like eating more and all those things, and so taking that on like that challenge is definitely something different than a fat loss phase, but I also think that's the one phase that really builds you, right? The fat loss phase is definitely important, right? It brings down body fat. But when it comes to like really performing and like getting stronger and going after some cool PBs in the gym and taking up space, then growing some muscle is definitely the way to go. So I'm very excited where your carb intake will land when we are tapping into a building phase.
Right? I'm like, I don't even know how much, how like high it's gonna go. It's like kind of exciting and a new challenge. I'm a little nervous, but I know that it's gonna be awesome. So yeah, I'm
It is
excited.
with your mentality, like not only the work ethic that you bring, but also um, the striving for performance and like peaking and outgrowing yourself. Like growth is, I think, definitely a mantra for you or a word for you that you like.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, and it's definitely something I've never done before. Yeah, I've done fat loss. I've done, things like obviously tried to do many of those things, but I've never done a building phase. So it is like brand new territory.
exciting. So I will should probably also share a little bit more building content because and inside of the club, because a lot of women are focused on the fat loss piece. The content is then also a lot of like posts are about fat loss. But I think if you can maybe drop a couple of questions, maybe you are in the next couple of weeks at the place where you're like, oh, I would like to plan my lean build phase, and you have something coming up, then I'm happy to share a little bit of my lean build phase chronicles. They have not always been lean, because for my first building phase, it was definitely a pizza and ice cream diet because I didn't know better. I was just like, yeah, I should eat more food. So pizza and ice cream.
Right? It's
Uh,
nice that there's room for that. Um,
Definitely. But it was more so in kind of also an excuse to not taking much care about my nutrition because I just didn't know better back then on like to fuel my performance because I want to grow and build. And my mindset was more so, oh no, I have a lot of food instead of
yeah.
like, let's fuel my training. I want to perform and strive for cool numbers in the gym. So
Yeah, I like that. I think there was one where you asked about any questions on the building phase, and I think I dropped like 20 questions. I was like, oh, here you go. So I'll have to go back and you're like, of course you have a huge list. And I'm like, well,
we will find that because I can definitely search for your question. I do think that I even copy and pasted them over and I have them somewhere. I'm like, we are going
yeah,
to get them covered now that it's a topic for you coming up.
yeah, I'm
So
excited. So thank you.
thank you for today. Sending, oh, it's evening for me, but it's still, what is it, midday for you?
9:30 a.m.
Oh, morning. Have a
Yeah.
great day and talk to you soon.
All right. Thank you.
Bye bye.